But there's a little bit of advice for you here. Learn some basic phone etiquette, right? If we've been texting for 20 minutes and I say, hey, why don't you give me a call? That doesn't mean in 2 hours. That means mash the call button.
All right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So-
Not just call whenever in a couple days.
Yeah.
Like, I'm free now.
Let's do this conversation.
Right.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, the #1 sugar dating podcast in Canada and the rest of the world, where we pull back the curtains on the good and the bad. And Lily,
the sugary secrets.
the so shocking stories of sugar dating. The sugary.
Well, we're sugar dating, and
Yes, that's true.
it's a sweet lifestyle and
Yep. It's very sweet.
promotes cavities. Maybe we should get sponsored by
I did
a
go to the
toothpaste.
dentist the other day, and it wasn't good news.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I might go to Mexico. Dental work is so expensive here in the U.S. It's unbelievable.
Just get dentures.
Yeah, you had a guy, Scorpio. He got his whole mouth done.
He did.
And it was like $70,000
Yeah.
or something, right?
Yeah. He just had so many problems with his gums. They took them all out and put them all back in.
I'll tell you
It was
what.
crazy.
I mean, I have money, but I work so hard for it, and I just hate to.
He works hard for
Yeah.
his money.
Anyway, welcome to another episode. So just a few announcements really quick. Thank Pod Populi, always, for providing this beautiful studio. We've got a repeat guest in today, and he's never been in this part of the studio. I'm sure he's going to find it very comfortable.
Thank you, Brian Howie
Yeah, thank you very much. And then,
and crew.
and this episode might come out, I don't know, at the end of October, which is our absolute deadline for the party. We've got, I'd say we got 90% of it done.
Yes.
You got the party bus
I've reserved the party bus
with the stripper pole,
with the stripper pole.
which is going to be a lot of fun. That will transport us from the pre-party down to Footprint Center, where we're going to enjoy a concert in a private suite.
22-person party bus.
That's right. And the concert is, if you haven't heard by now, you've been living under a rock or not listening to our show. Or if this is the first episode, it's Pitbull, Ricky Martin, and Enrique Iglesias.
Julio's boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun, energetic concert. The private suite comes with all you can eat and all you can drink, which can be a little dangerous, but there will be open bar.
Yep.
And we'll see if we can keep it under control. And then also lodging. And we've got all the lodging taken care of. So we've got 4 Airbnbs that we're putting people up in. So you'll get to meet other people in the lifestyle, kind of hang out with them all weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I've been communicating with the girls that we've selected so far, and it's going to be a hoot.
And we've got a good crop. Like,
Yeah.
they're all over the board.
Quite the
but
range.
It's going to be a very interesting show. And listen, if you didn't get chosen this time, or if you got your entry in late, don't worry, we're going to have this again. And anybody who's entered, they're automatically going to be entered into the next one. Okay?
Oh, great idea.
Yeah. So go ahead and send those entries
Except for the one lady who doesn't want to be our friend anymore.
Oh, I think I got that figured out. We made up.
You did? Mm-hmm. The lady that was mad at us for fat shaming?
Yes. Yeah.
Did I fat shame? Because I feel like I would never do that.
No, it was a subject that kind of came up, and then we just basically told how it really was out there. Like what sugar daddies are looking for.
That, and also I think, and I criticize people for this. If you put a picture of you when you were very thin and now you're very curvaceous, I feel like that's deceptive.
Yeah.
So I will agree to that.
Right.
Same thing. If you put a picture of yourself as very curvaceous, and that's what I was looking for, and then when you show up, you're skinny as a rail, well, that's not what I expected either. So just be transparent,
All right.
everyone.
And one more announcement before we get to our guest. We have Maria Scaptura, who advertised last year. And she, again, is advertising this year because she's still working on her PhD project. Just go to our website. It's a very easy survey, a couple 2 minutes.
It literally takes 2 minutes. I just did it. I had done the phone interview, last year, I guess.
Right.
But I just wanted to see what the survey entailed.
Yeah.
It's like 5-6 questions. It's easy
Right.
peasy.
But then we would also appreciate you doing a live interview with her. It's not recorded. It's anonymous. But they're trying to gather data of sugar dating, which actually is approved by the universities. It was Virginia Tech, and now it's University of Arkansas. So we like that. We want to know what's going on out there because you and I are experiencing it. Our guest is experiencing it, but we're just a microcosm, so we need to kind of figure out what's going on out there.
We're just the tip of the sugar dating iceberg.
Right. All right. Let's get to our guest. I want to reintroduce this guy because we really appreciate everybody listening. Our numbers are growing, and I just hired somebody to help us with our social media. And Lily, it's good, isn't it?
Oh my God.
It's 10 times better than what you and I do.
It's badass. She did that fast too.
I know. She's really good at it. So we've got somebody helping us doing our YouTube, our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're really starting to roll that out on social media because we've figured out you guys are interested in this. The numbers are proving it. So we're going to see where we can take this. So we have these numbers we look at and these trends. And this guest was on here weeks ago. And he is still the highest ranking podcast episode that we've had in the last 6 months. Now, obviously, episode 1 and 2 have been played thousands of times because that's where people start. But as in the last 6 months, this guy's episode has just gone through the roof. And I'm just looking at it thinking, what magic did this guy have? But I thought back on the episode, and it was so fun. So welcome back, Sugar Daddy Dwayne.
Thank you. Thank you. Once again, a massive buildup that I don't know whether I can actually meet the expectations, but we're going to give it a try.
Yeah.
Now, did I see, Dwayne, that you were indicating that you've done the phone interview with Maria?
I have done the phone interview with Maria, and I will say she's very nice. She has some insightful questions, and at least in my case, she was perfectly happy to just let me just talk about whatever I would want to talk about while she is scribbling furiously with notes. I even gave her permission to record because
why
I'm on
not?
a worldwide podcast. I suppose I can let university researcher record me. But yeah, she's very nice. Just seems to be openly looking for information about the lifestyle. So if you have information about the lifestyle, I would encourage you to give her a call.
Yeah,
She
we've all
needs
done it.
the data.
Yeah, we need the data. I'd like to find out what the conclusions are. Because I've heard statistics. I've been on other podcasts, and they've done some research, and they say, yeah, I've read that 40% of sugar babies never have sexual intimacy with their sugar daddies. I'm like, where did this data come from? That seems very high.
40 or 4?
40%. And I'm like, now I could see it being closer to 25 or 30 in my brief history, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Actually, now that you mention it, that's probably about right for my history too, but I've assumed that that's not the way the rest of the world works.
Yeah, that just seemed like a really weird statistic, but I've been thrown that a couple times. So I'll have to find out where they're getting their stats. But I think Dr. Sexberry actually hit me with that one. And she's full of statistics.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Although I suppose you could argue that if that 25 to 35% that you just quoted, or 40%, if that includes the meet and greets, the platonic meet and greet dates, not allowance dates, maybe.
Yeah. Because I'd say 90% of my meet and greet dates, there's no intimacy involved. Occasionally one will take a turn and they're like,
A turn for the better?
Yeah, they're like, do you want to continue this? I'm like, damn right I do.
But you're right. While you're on the subject, that's what that meet and greet is for.
Yeah.
Is just to meet and find out whether there's any chemistry and desire to go forward. It's not intended for intimacy most of the time.
Right. So what have you been up to, Sugar Daddy Dwayne?
Well, attended a couple of chess tournaments where I lost badly because that's what's
chess
happening.
has really made a comeback.
It
I'm
has.
seeing chess videos and TikToks and Instagrams everywhere on chess.
Yes, yes. It started, of course, with the was it the Netflix show,
The Queen's Gambit.
Oh,
that
that's
was
right.
good.
That was very good. And then of
I
course,
don't even like chess. I loved that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. The lockdown, of course, got people playing chess from home a lot more often. And then either because of, I don't know, chicken or egg, yeah, there are now lots of great content providers. You're probably seeing some of them. I could name a bunch, but
Yeah.
yeah. So,
And you think the internet has played a big role in that because of the accessibility to other opponents?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure
I think
that's
so for sure.
all the software out there now is just fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway, so
okay.
I'm doing a little bit of that, but not well, but it's fun.
What's your ranking?
Over the board is under 800.
Yeah.
So I'm a very, very beginner. Yeah.
Okay.
Grandmasters are 2,400.
Yeah.
Just to give you.
I know there's a number, but you could have told me any number. I don't know where that falls, but
Yeah,
I
there
know
you go.
there's a number.
Yeah, it's between 6 and 6.5 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any updates on your sugar dating?
Well, you know, in thinking about this when you invited me back, it was very gracious. Thank you. I have a story. I have a couple of stories, some things I can tell you about, but I've got one particular story that I think might be a timeline of things not to do as a sugar baby that all happened all just within one particular sequence of events that I'd be happy to talk about.
And
if
that
you'd
was
like.
recent?
That was, in fact, the primary event was the day we recorded last time. I thought it was
Really?
very interesting. I left here and then lived out some of the steps that we're going to talk about.
Well, do
So,
tell.
There's a story. we can
Lay
talk
it
about
on
that.
us.
So I found a girl on Seeking because so far that's what I'm using.
Okay.
And
She looks young.
she does. She does.
Let me have a peek.
Mid-20s in
Yeah.
this case. I called her
Oh,
up there.
cute.
Yeah, very cute. Started a conversation. The conversation went well, as is my particular style anyway. I asked for a phone call because I think phone calls are a great way to get to know someone. And the phone call went really well. Turns out that this is her and her girlfriend looking for a sugar daddy arrangement to play together.
Have you ever done that before?
I have not. And the interesting thing is, I'm not all that sure that I need a threesome, the Office Space movie notwithstanding.
You don't like the package deal?
I'm seeing a lot of that out there.
I would probably enjoy it, but I've never partaken, I suppose.
Neither
and
have I.
I don't see
Dr.
that-
Charles has some stories. He's been doing it quite a bit lately.
I just feel like I would be completely awkward.
If you and your friend got on Seeking together and said, we're looking for a guy
I
together.
can't think of any of my friends that I would want to do that with.
Well, you're older.
Well, and also, I'm not drawn to women sexually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
there's that.
that would get in the way, I suppose. Yes. Yes.
Well, I met, I hesitate on telling the story. I met a couple of sisters on Seeking,
Oh, dear God.
and we had some threesomes, but they didn't play together. They just made sure I was happy. And then, I
That's
kind of,
still fucking weird.
I know, but they were, yeah, I was surprised. And then my buddy,
Were they twins?
no, they were different ages, but I told my buddy in Vegas about, he's like, dude, what's going on in your dating life? I go, oh, you're not going to believe, like, I'm having threesomes with these two sisters. And he's just like, what the fuck have you got into? Anyway,
Dear God.
that lasted for
Okay.
about a year, just kind of on and off. They'd come over whenever.
Back to Dwayne's story.
Anyway, so this girl had a friend that she was wanting to.
Had a friend looking to work together with, and I'll just give you a bit of the timeline as we work through. So we're texting back and forth, and I suggested, hey, let's do a phone call. That was at 4:26. At 6:41, she just rang my phone. No text, no warning, just
She just called you?
called
You know,
out of the blue.
not to interrupt your story, but I'm going to. I had that happen recently. My phone, I use it for business. I use it for Airbnbs. I get random calls. I'm selling things all the time. And this call pops up in this call, and I didn't recognize the name as I usually don't. I answer it, and she's like, hey, how are you? Okay, where am I supposed to go with that?
Yeah.
She just called me without any warning whatsoever.
And you'd never heard her voice before.
No, I had given her my phone number like 30 minutes earlier on Seeking, and I said, hey, message me here, and she calls me. It was the most awkward, and I was right in the middle of something. So what do you do with that? What do you do, Dwayne?
Well, that's why I'm bringing this up here.
Yeah.
This little vignette of advice there is, and I recognize We in the room are from a different generation. But there's a little bit of advice for you here. Learn some basic phone etiquette, right? If we've been texting for 20 minutes and I say, hey, why don't you give me a call? That doesn't mean in 2 hours. That means mash the call button.
All right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Not just call whenever in a couple days.
Yeah.
Like I'm free now.
Let's do this conversation.
Right.
So in any event, we finally got connected. I missed the call and then called her back and she was leaving messages. And anyway, we finally got on the phone and had a great conversation. These two girls are excited about all of this. Now, we've talked a little bit last time around. I have some kinky interests and they were excited about the kinky interest that's going to come up
So you
later.
got right into that.
So I always do. I feel like the point of the conversation is get to know each other and then talk a little bit about what we're each looking for in real time, because sometimes what you type isn't always the same thing as what you mean. So let's just talk, and that's what I always do.
Let's clarify kinky. By kinky, do you mean that you like to be a dom?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I actually led with that in his last episode. You heard your episode, and
I did.
You heard the
I'm the
teaser.
one that downloaded it 1,000 times.
I was wondering how we got so many downloads.
Dom Dwayne.
Yeah.
And these girls are all about it.
These girls were all about it. Say
Okay.
that they do some of that on their own. They tie each other up sometimes, and they're excited about all of it. So I'm like, this is great. Things are going well. So we set up a time to meet within a couple of days, I think. I offered them a couple of days. They said, how about tomorrow? I said, great. How about tomorrow? Okay, we set a time, said 4 o'clock. No problem. So we're now skipping to the next day. It is now, I'm just looking through my phone.
So are they coming to your house? You're getting a hotel?
They're coming to my house
Okay.
because we decided that would just be nice and convenient, so why not?
Okay.
So at 4:45 on the day we're supposed to meet at 4 o'clock, I get a text that says, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I thought we were meeting at 6. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Where does a 4 look like a 6?
Yes. Now, the point of all of this is that all throughout this entire interaction, there were red flags and green flags.
Okay.
I'm thinking you're going to laugh at me as we go further. Why did you put up with this for so long?
It's because the wrong part of our body
There's
starts
that
thinking.
too. And you saw the picture I showed. She's cute. So,
Yeah.
there you
Yeah.
go. Okay, they flaked out. It's 45 minutes late. I've been through this game before.
Yeah.
I recognize what's happening. But then I got a text that says, I'm so sorry. All right, maybe it's actually real after all. I have talked to these girls. So, okay. So we set up another time. I'm going to skip forward through some of all this, but what it amounts to is we're going to leave our place soon, an hour later. Okay, we haven't left yet, but still have to shave. 45 minutes later, we can still come if you want to. That's okay, right? 30 minutes after that. Now, at this point, I've seen this game before. And Marcus, my question for you is, have you seen this game?
Yeah. Was she a fairly new profile?
No. Interesting. 6 months, depending on whether you consider that new.
Yeah, it's in the yellow range, yellow flag range. Oh, yeah. No, this has happened to me. And I've told this story. Matter of fact, I told this story last night. I had this girl, was when I first signed up. Beautiful girl. We didn't talk on the phone, but we texted back and forth. And oh my God, she was a brown girl, Latina, just like I like them. We're going to meet at the sushi place, 7 o'clock. Well, she messaged me like 6:45. Hey, I'm on my way. Oh, perfect. Well, about 7:10, 7:15, I'm there. I always get there like 5-10 minutes early. I'm waiting, and she's like, hey, I'm almost there. Traffic was really bad. Okay, well, thanks for communicating. I'll wait. Another 10-15 minutes goes by, and she says, hey, I'm just now entering the parking lot. It's pretty packed, so I'm trying to find a spot. Okay, I can wait. Another 10 minutes go by, and she goes, hey, I finally found a parking spot. I'm getting out. Are you at the front door? I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting. What is this, about 40 minutes late now? And then I wait another 10 minutes. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Never shows up. 15 minutes, 10 more minutes go by. I'm like, somebody's fucking with me. I'm out of here.
I don't understand what pleasure someone would derive from just fucking with someone.
This gets worse.
Okay.
This gets worse. 3 months later, I get a text from this girl, and she's like, I am so sorry. She says, I got out of my car. I had an emergency. I was so frazzled. And I got in my car. I had to leave, and I was on the phone. I didn't get a chance to message you, and I felt horrible. I am so sorry. Can we do it again? I think you're cute or handsome or whatever. I'd love to meet you. And I'm like, okay, well, I would love to meet you. You're gorgeous. Let's do it again. Same time, same place. Perfect. 7 o'clock comes. Hey, I'm on my way. I'm running a little late. I'm like, here we go again.
It's Groundhog's Day.
It is Groundhog Day. 10 minutes later, hey, I'm pulling in the parking lot. I'm very, very sorry. I never do this, but I'm almost there. Okay. 10 more minutes. She never shows up. 10 more minutes, never shows up. I text her. I'm like, you fucking got me twice. And when I did a cross-reference of that phone number, it came up some young Hispanic boy's name.
Uh-oh.
It's probably a couple of middle school boys having the time of their
no
life.
idea who that number was tied to. It was kind of a generic name, but it was a boy's name, and the only ones I could find were in their like teens or early 20s. And I'm like, somebody is just having a good time, and they're just
At your expense.
and they're wasting mine.
And see, Lily, I'm with you. I don't understand the benefit there. I don't know what they get from it.
Yeah.
But they got me twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
The same way.
Yeah, the
At the
exact
place.
same way. I felt so stupid, but they played it out really well.
Yeah.
And I have given people second chances, and it's actually worked out. I was hoping it would, but it didn't.
Well, I've got to tell a story on myself then. Early on in my ventures and all of this, I have gone to a girl's place because she asked to meet at her place. We could walk around the corner to, go get some coffee or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure, I'll go pick her up. I sat in her apartment parking garage for an hour and 15 minutes, being dragged along 5 and 10 minutes at a time.
Yep.
So that was my first introduction to, wow, people will absolutely just fuck with you. And I don't know why, but there you go.
Okay, so back to your story here.
So
We get sidetracked very, very
that's
easily.
Okay. That's why we like to listen. While you were saying that she said, I'm sorry, I don't normally do this, I'll show you that message right there. That's almost word for word what this girl sent. I'm sorry, we're normally very timely. Sorry, something bad has happened.
I swear we normally aren't untimely and we stick to our plan, but tonight has just been a shit show. We'll have to do Sunday.
I think it's the same adolescent boy.
Yeah, probably.
It might be.
Yeah.
It might be. In this case, though, well, I'll continue the story.
That's not the picture that you saw.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, yours
mine
was a
was
brown girl.
years ago. I mean, it was like 2017 or something like that. Yeah.
So at some point that night, I decided to just give her a call because I'm like, you know what? I can play a game back. Oh, I'm being messed with? No problem. I'll just mash the call button and just watch what happens. And she answered.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, okay. I know what's happening here. She answered and talked for a little while over the phone. Said, okay, my roommate is just having this problem. Her dad called because her sister is stranded on the side of the road. And so again, red flag, green flag.
I know.
Not exactly green flag, but it's like maybe it's
When they
real.
answer and they actually give an explanation, you're kind of
Yeah, see? I
you're
can't just
almost
write
trending
off.
towards giving them an opportunity.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we don't want to think people are assholes. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We want to see the good in everyone.
It's true.
And then we get.
Aren't you the one that said that the scammers
Duped.
only prey on the nice guys?
That's very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Is that, it only works on good guys.
On good guys.
Yeah. So back to the story. So after all of this, okay, well, I'm going to bed. Never mind. So the next morning, I get a text about 11 o'clock in the morning saying, hey, just wanted to let you know, I recognize it all went bad, but we would love to meet you. So when's another time? You offered another day. How about whenever it was, Sunday, Tuesday?
See, and they're not asking for money. They're not asking for
Right. This
any,
isn't a scam in
Yeah,
any other way that I've
right.
seen. So I'm like, okay, sure. Let's try again.
Yeah.
All right. So I say, communicate with me, please. And then because I'm still convinced that I'm getting messed with, I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you what. You owe me a couple of pictures, so send me some pictures.
Oh.
So I get,
Thanks for sharing.
uh-huh.
Wow.
See? Interesting,
That is sexy.
right? So I'll show Lily.
It's
Oh,
It's not
so
it's not rated R.
no, it's just something you could put on Instagram, but it's just very
It's tasteful, but
it's girls in lingerie.
holding each other, kissing.
kind of embracing and making out.
Yeah, while they're standing up.
And let me look at this one. Oh, and then there's the buttocks.
Oh, you scrolling further. I didn't
a
scroll
couple more.
further.
Oh,
There's a couple
and then
more.
there's a naked side mirror photo. I can see why you didn't give up.
So you see here, I'll let you-
this
I'll
has
let you
cost
scroll
you
the rest.
nothing but time, and
Right.
you're
Right. I've got a couple of they're
Got
not
some free
nudes, but they're
photos.
close. So I've got some free photos. 'cause
Wow,
I'm like,
they
okay,
look-
whatever.
they look good.
These are not on the profile.
Had you guys talked at all in your texting or phone conversation about gifting or anything like that?
Enough that they knew what my budget is, and they were perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, so they knew there was gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. And I'll tell you, an interesting thing for me is like we talked about last time, right? I'm not wealthy. I just have a good job with some income to share.
Yeah.
And my sales pitch to them worked so well that I've kind of adopted it ever since then. I said, we're talking $20,000 a year over the course of a year.
Right?
And they lit up at that. Ooh. I was like, oh,
Yeah, when you annualize it,
yeah. Yeah. So that's a little trick that I've tried.
I've done that too. When I'm setting up like a long-term arrangement, like with Alejandra or even with Madison, the one before her.
You offer an annual salary?
Well, no, you just tell them like, okay, I can do this per week, but it works out to this per year. And their eyes just light up like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. In this particular case, it was, oh, well, that would mean we wouldn't have to pay rent. I mean, that's rent every month.
Absolutely,
Our
yeah.
complete apartment rent plus some groceries. I'm like,
Right.
oh, yeah. So, yes, we had talked allowance.
Okay.
So I thought things were going relatively well, other than the fact that they're flaky and bizarre. So we get to the day of, and this was the day that we recorded last time, by the way, and I get a message that says, hey, my girlfriend is just super tired after work. Could you come to our place instead? That would take a lot of the stress off.
That one's
See, that's a little different now, right? Wait a minute. Now you want me to come to a place I've never been, carrying
Yeah.
cash? Now, hang on.
I know.
This is a red flag for me.
Right. That one I'd be a little hesitant on. I mean, it could be some kind of a setup of any kind.
And I've never seen them before. I've talked
Right.
on the phone. That doesn't mean anything, right?
Yeah, there
So-
hasn't even been a meet and greet.
Right. Exactly. All of this has skipped the meet and greet because we had a good phone conversation. We're willing to just meet. So, and I've offered a meet and greet. And part of the conversation goes on. I'm like, oh, well, if she's too tired to even leave the apartment, then what kind of a date are we going to have? Why don't we just meet somewhere for ice cream? Let's go. And then I get, here comes the next little piece of advice. No, we'll lose our apartment if we don't meet tonight. Now, here's my advice to all potential sugar babies out there in the world. I understand money is a part of the sugar lifestyle, and it should be. That's what this is all about. That's fine. But maybe you shouldn't wait until the last possible minute to
But
get
they
your rent
do.
paid. But they do. The last 2 days of every month, the first day or two of
My
every
phone
month,
blows up.
they are out of the woodwork.
Yours too?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We've talked
Nonstop.
about this. I mean, Kevin also. We always get calls.
It's
and
mind-boggling that
messages.
somebody is that irresponsible.
Well,
As an oldest child and an Aries, I'm super responsible. I cannot imagine myself being in that kind of dire
there's a
straits.
big reason why girls go on sugar daddy sites, and it's the majority of it is just because their life is in chaos. Their just finances are in chaos, and it's of their own making, and so they need help. I mean, I'm just saying, a spade a spade. I mean, that's exactly what's going on for most of them. Now, there's those few like Kimmy. She makes her own money. She's very responsible. She likes dealing with the older, successful men. But
Same.
I've encountered, and I'm sure you have, Dwayne, many drug situations where they're needing money for drugs.
Yeah.
These are people, they're not hooked on heroin, they're not hooked on meth, they're hooked on like codone or something like that, or Percocet. They're just needing pills.
They're not hooked on phonics.
No, they're not hooked on.
That's
that's
another topic. Come back to phonics later.
So you would look at these girls, they seem normal and they have great personalities, but they've got these underlying problems that they need financial help with to continue this addiction or whatever it may be.
Sometimes that's true. I don't know if I'm willing to go as high of the percentage that you're suggesting, but you.
Well,
might
I don't
be
know
right.
if it's
You might be right.
Yeah. The majority of the girls, like Alejandra, my main sugar baby right now, the reason we're working out so well and reason that besides the chemistry and the personality, she has her own job. She has her own money. She's in school now. She's, in a medical field, getting her degree in that field. She's very driven. She's very responsible. And she's the type that when she says she's going to do something, she does it. I am the type that's also very dependable. And so we just adore that about each other. I've been on the site for 7 years. I've only found 4 or 5 people, maybe 10, that are that way out of the hundreds I've met.
So
Yeah. And she's sharp as a tack and sweet as pie.
Alejandra,
Yes.
don't build her head up too much.
Why? I love her.
She loves you too. We go double dating with Lily and her guy a lot. The other night we went to a restaurant near Lily's house, and I didn't tell Alejandra that they were joining us. And so she didn't even clue in when we sat down at the table for 4 that they put 4 menus down. And anyway, you walked up. She had no idea you were
Yeah,
joining.
that was cute.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
I still can't
She
believe
was-
Lily's here.
Genuinely excited to see
Yeah.
us.
So my point is, I have a hard time finding those people that are fiscally responsible.
So here's your 2 pieces of advice. If you are a potential sugar baby listening into Secrets of a Sugar Daddy and looking for a little bit of help, just be somewhat reliable. We don't even ask you to be dead on time. Just mean roughly what you say.
Yeah.
That's really all we're talking about here. It's relatively easy, I think, but apparently not.
So Dwayne, Alejandra gave me this bracelet the other day. I haven't taken it off. It's just one of these little rubber bracelets that you wear. What does it say?
Show up.
That is the majority of how you can succeed in life. It's just show up,
I believe it.
right?
I believe it.
So I kind of live by, and I was like, hey, this is perfect. I'm never taking this off because that's where I've gotten where I am now, or how I've gotten where I am now.
I have to know how you responded when they said, if we don't have the date, we will lose our apartment.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you do, sir?
I'm afraid I'm a softie. I said, well, all right then. I guess we'd better meet tonight.
See,
Let's set it
he's
up.
already got in his mind, oh my God, they're up for what I'm wanting, and they're sending me these photos. I'm telling you, the wrong part of our
You
body
bleeding heart.
starts thinking. I'm right with you, Dwayne.
But there was that part of me that says, oh, another one of these. See again, both sides, red flag, green flag. Yeah.
Yeah,
the
this is
story
a
gets
struggle. It reminds me of the Animal House scene where the girl's naked and you got the devil and the angel fighting between each other on what to do with the naked girl.
better. That's about right.
You remember that part,
about
right,
right.
Lily?
I don't think I ever watched that.
Animal House?
How did you miss
I
Animal
don't.
House?
I'm not really into screwball comedy.
Oh, it's Screwball. John Belushi. Oh my God. So, all those cast of characters.
I'm going to quote my sugar daddy surgeon who pissed me off one time when I told him something that I liked, and he goes, I just find that so sophomoric.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
you motherfucker.
all men are pretty sophomoric.
We're pretty simple.
Yeah.
Oh, not the surgeon.
Not the surgeon. All right.
So
I'm anxiously
I was
waiting.
gonna say, I know. I keep building you up for more
I
and
know.
more of this. All right. So after all of this, once you come to my house, wait, if you're too tired, whatever, we'll get to that. I've been talking to S of the 2 girls, S and A. So S. I say, okay, I'm busy. I'm about to be out in an hour. I'll be out and whatever. And then she sends me her address.
Is it an apartment?
It's an apartment.
Okay.
So
Surprise,
without the
shock.
apartment number, but the address. So I go and do the rest of what I was doing that day. And about an hour after that, I get a long text that says, hey, so we know it's our first meeting and it might be a little early to ask, but if it wasn't serious, we wouldn't even ask.
Dun, dun, dun,
Marcus
dun.
knows what's coming.
Oh, God.
Is there any way you
Like
could
a Mack
cover
truck.
this week and next week, because we still need to pay for rent this month and we have until midnight to pay it? We're X amount short, so if you'd be willing to do that or even halfway between the two, that would help a lot. If not, that's okay, obviously, but we were just wondering. Now,
Well, it never hurts to ask, right?
yeah, now the most of that message is, okay, all right, whatever. But then you get to the end, you're like, you know what? She at least is making some effort.
Yeah, right.
I don't usually see that from the scammers. The scammers think that they need to be very high pressure. This one
Yeah.
looked
She
bad
kinda
until
gave
the
you
end.
gave you an out where you can say, I'm not comfortable with that. Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah. So again, a red flag and a green
I
flag.
know, boy, they are.
So
they're good.
Piece of advice here: if you're trying not to be a scammer, if you're a sugar baby who doesn't want to trigger those things, stick to what you agree to. If you talked about what the allowance is going to be, accept the allowance and recognize that if things go really well, he might call you back tomorrow and then you can get more money, but don't try to ask for it before up front. It looks bad.
Yeah, it does.
So
I've totally been through all this.
I know. I was going to say, I'm sure, Marcus, you've seen
God,
all of this before. In my case, it's just this all happened with one girl. I
Yeah.
think this story is just hysterical to me. So I said, we'll talk about it in a while. It's the kind of risk that most daddies quickly learn not to take, but we'll see. Right? Every parent will see. All right. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to be clever because I'm pretty sure I'm just being played here. This isn't real. I did something completely foolish. I drove to the address to see where it is. Is this a real place? And sure enough, it is a real apartment complex. I dialed
You know
the
what?
phone.
That's what Google's for.
Yeah, but I was driving by. I'm like, you know
Okay.
what? I'll just go a little bit out of my way. I actually drove there, but it goes further.
Okay.
I called the phone. Nobody's going to answer because, if you're
Yeah,
not
but
ready to scam.
this is the same phone number,
This is
right?
the same phone
and you
number
did call
that
it
we've
before.
already called before. I just called her out of the blue this time. I'm
okay. Gotcha.
With no plan. She answers the phone. And I said, hey, I know we've been going back and forth and things aren't going really well. I just need to know that you're real. That's the way I said it. I just need to know that you're real. So could we just meet very briefly, not for the purpose of playing or anything, just so I can just look you in the eye and know that you're a real person? And she goes, oh, well, I sure, I guess. Where do you want to meet? How about your front door? I'm right outside.
Whoa.
Now, knowing that this is going to, this is going to polarize, right? Things is either
Yeah,
going
but
to
how'd you know what apartment number she was
I didn't
at?
know the apartment number, but I told her,
Okay.
I'm right there. Said, just tell me the apartment number. I'll knock on the door in 30 seconds. And she gave me her apartment number.
Dude.
Red flag, green flag,
Yeah.
right? But I'm thinking at least, okay, if this is a setup, at least I've been
so
here
far.
before. So is this a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. So I knock on the door. Door is answered, and it's two girls matching the pictures. It's really them.
Really?
And you've seen the picture that I showed you before, the super cute picture. Oh, Marcus.
So now you're like, okay, I'm all in.
I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
I'm in trouble, right? Because now I've seen her in person, and you know how we all have a type, right? We all
Yes.
have a type. Some men have a range of some sort. Some of us, range is narrow. Some of the range is large, but we've got a type. I'm telling you, Marcus, this girl is my type.
Oh God!
I'm
Now
in
she
for
can
it.
ask for anything, and
I'm
you're
in for it. I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done. There's trouble.
There's
involved.
trouble.
But we're just meeting.
Did you just pull out your wallet and start
Yeah,
saying,
it's
let
like-
me see what I have
Just
in
pull out-
here?
Just to start emptying your
I
wallet on her
probably should
doorstep.
have. I probably should. In retrospect, that might have actually worked out better.
Yeah, here's my credit card. What else you need? My
Here
car
you go.
keys.
Car
What do
keys,
you, what do you
just
want?
take what it needs. So we talked for just a little bit. Their apartment is trashed. It is a mess.
of course it is.
It is, right? I'm shocked they would even invite me over in the first place, but their apartment.
Well, they didn't have
is
time
a
to
mess.
clean
They
it.
didn't have time to clean it, but that's okay. I told them that was perfectly okay. So we talked for a little while. I say, okay, well, great. In that case, 7 o'clock. I'll be back at 7. Go home. Come back at 7. Nothing more to show up there until come at 7 o'clock. The roommate that's not the one I've been texting to opens the door. I come inside and she says, S is freaking out. She's all nervous about all this because, we've done some kinky play, but she's really nervous about all that. She's locked herself in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh!
Up and down, like a roller coaster, this story goes. So
I sure feel like there's drugs involved here.
maybe, we'll see. We'll show you at the end.
Okay.
So, okay, you know what? I'm talking to A now. All right, you know what? Let's just you and I talk for a little while. If she calms down, it'll be fine. And if not, then I guess this isn't going to happen. So we go and sit down on the edge of the bed, 3 feet away from the bathroom door where she has locked herself inside the bathroom door. And we just talk. We talk about where you're from. We talk about favorite foods. We talk about anything but kinky play or sex or anything that might possibly freak her out. Eventually, the door cracks open. And S walks out, butt naked, looking phenomenal.
What?
Doesn't this story it's just the weirdest
You should
story.
see Lily's
I'm
face
so
right
confused right now.
now. She is over there just.
I'm with Marcus on the drug thing. This has got to be.
Isn't this bizarre?
Very bizarre.
Just bizarre. So she walks out, and so we're sitting on the edge of the bed, and she comes around behind, S comes around behind A and sits behind her out of line of sight. Now, my immediate thought is, okay, you know what you do when you have a skittish dog, a skittish puppy,
Yeah.
right? You don't look right at them. You look away, you give the puppy a time to come and approach you. This is exactly what this is. I'm dealing with a skittish puppy right now. She's sitting behind us where we can't see. This whole story is just weird. Anyway, eventually slowly warms up. I start making flirty, teasy kind of comments about her to the other girl, whatever. Eventually, we decide, you know what? Everything is fine. S is sitting out here. We're going to be all right. Why don't let's just give this a try. And I said, okay, sure. Because, she's naked and gorgeous. What more do I want? And so then the final bombshell.
Okay.
The one girl, the roommate, S, says, well, we talked about allowance, and I know you're willing to help us out. I just wanted to explain the reason why she's been asking you for more money is because we have a normal hourly and half-hourly rate when we meet men here. So I just wanted to be sure you could make your way up to our hourly rate. And I went, record scratch. Come again? You have a half-hour rate for the men you meet in your apartment? Oh.
Oh, God.
Oh. So, a bizarre story.
So what did you
came
do?
from
Wait,
bizarre
you can't
end.
just end it there.
Did
What'd
you
you
just
do?
leave?
I just left. I'm like,
That's what I would have done too.
apparently this isn't going to work out. You're nervous.
It's kind of like your story, Marcus,
Yeah.
from a couple weeks ago where things are getting hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I was thinking about.
right in the moment, she asks for an exorbitant amount. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, because it was a meet and greet, and she goes, "Hey, I'd appreciate some help, financially or whatever." I can't remember how she worded it, but we got the point across. And I said, "Yeah, I appreciate your time. I'll be happy to give you a couple hundred just to meet and greet. I know you're a single mom or whatever, and you need some help." And she was beautiful, and when she showed up as advertised, just bombshell beautiful. So I'm thinking, wow, this is good. Anyway, so she wanted to continue the night. I'm like, sure. Yeah, that'd be great. Then we get back. We're making out. Clothes are coming off. And she goes, well, you're going to take care of me, right? And I said, oh, yeah. You'll get substantially more than just for the meet and greet. And then she goes, oh, yeah, well, normally I get $300 just to meet, and then it's $1,000 for anything after that. I'm like, $1,000? I tell you what, and I completely lost it. I lost my libido, or I lost the urge. And
There was shrinkage.
Yeah, there was shrinkage because I'm just like, I just kind of took the wind out of everything.
Wah, wah, wah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give you blank amount. We don't have to do anything. I appreciate your time. And I did give her a lot more than the 200, but I told her the amount I was comfortable with, and I felt bad because it was quite a bit lower than 1,000. It wasn't insulting.
Well, about half that is typical.
Yeah, about half that is typical.
That's what I was about to say. I've assumed you're a baller,
Oh, I'm
Marcus. I've assumed that you hit 1,000 easy.
no. My budget is
Well, I don't feel so bad about my.
I have a full-time sugar baby that I support for a month, so I don't have much left
Okay,
in the coffer.
fair enough.
But anyway, I felt terrible because she was probably worth that, although I had a little bit of an East Indian descent, so she was a brown girl, but she was mixed with something else. But she had like this little smell to her, that some of the East Indian people have. I traveled the state of Texas actually for a week in my car with this East Indian guy, and the foods that they eat, the curry and all this stuff that they eat constantly, they just emit a little bit of a different odor. And it's not pungent or anything. It's just different. And she had this odor.
Are you smell shaming?
No, it wasn't for me. Let's just say it was a little bit of a turnoff.
And it's okay for you to say that. People do not need to be taking offense to every little thing you say. I mean,
Yeah. But I could have gone through with it despite that, right? 'Cause she was absolutely
you
gorgeous.
could have overlooked that.
But
You could have held your breath.
yeah, but nah, that's where it ended. And so we actually end up not doing anything. But I've had people do that to me before. They'll just spring it on me right in the middle of making out and things getting hot and heavy. I had this girl in Austin do that to me once too. And I didn't know that she actually worked at a strip club. You know, she agreed to meet me for a meet and greet, and then we continued things back to my hotel, and I was having fun. I was going to take care of her, but she's like, hey, well, it's been an hour and I get $600 an hour. So did you want to continue? And I'm like, what? We just spent an hour a meet and greet. Anyway.
For me, it's not that you've sprung it on me. It's that you have
She never ever told me that.
You have an hourly rate.
Yeah.
That's not really what I'm here to do.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not looking for
Yeah, if you have a
a
post
mutually
on,
beneficial arrangement. You're just looking
depending on
for
your definition of mutually beneficial, I guess, but if you post on eros.com that you have an escort rate, then okay, but that's not what this is for. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of having
But it's very
hourly
easy
rate.
for girls to get on Seeking, and, that's how they're going to make their money. And oh, that's the other thing that turned me off about her. She wasn't working. That was her job.
No, yeah.
And when I kind of find that out, being a full-time sugar baby, like meeting all these men, and that's your job, it was a little bit of a turnoff too. Actually, it was a lot of a turnoff. I like people that are ambitious and their work, they've got goals in life.
How do you feel about OnlyFans?
What about
If
it?
she's got a relatively successful OnlyFans page.
I've seen somebody build an OnlyFans account to where they're making 6 figures a month, and I know how much work that takes.
Okay.
So I do appreciate that as a job, because they're not just sitting at home doing nothing. They're actually working and promoting and posting and editing, and there's just a lot to it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so.
Agreed.
So has there been any further communication with S and A?
No, I decided that's,
Just blocked them?
that's not going to work. No, I didn't block them.
Did they try to communicate with you after you left?
No, it was a mutual, oh, okay, this isn't going to work. Yeah. So they're kind of freaking out. They don't really want the whole kinky lifestyle. We're
So
not
basically,
sure.
this cost you nothing but your time.
Lots of time.
Yeah.
Lots of time.
Well, you got to see a naked girl in
And
person.
I got a story. Yeah, exactly. And I got a story. So,
Yeah, you got a
there
great
you
story.
go.
And this happened right after you did our podcast?
On that same day. Yeah.
Were you thinking, oh, I got to tell Marcus about this?
I was exactly thinking, I got to tell Marcus about this. So
Well, we're glad you did. We're glad you came
So
back.
hopefully there's some advice in there.
Yeah. No,
Don't put off escort vibes if you're trying to succeed.
And there's a lot of that. It's not uncommon. There's a lot of that. So I always said in the beginning when we just started the podcast, you can find a range of what you're looking for because the range is much larger. There's girls that say, all right, it's going to be this much per hour, and you've got an hour because I'm busy. I got to go to my next client. Or there's other girls who literally say, I'm not looking for anything financial. I'm looking for a successful older gentleman to marry. Like, that's the other extreme, right?
Right.
And then you just kind of got to narrow down what you want and find what you want.
Work hard to find it. That's true.
Yeah. And I said that in episode 1. I was re-listening to my episode this week, and I was like, it's so awkward to listen to episode 1 because we just started. I hadn't found my groove, hadn't found a style, didn't really know where this was going to go. So I was re-listening to it, and it was so awkward. But I did say that like in episode 1, and it still holds true.
For what it's worth, I don't think episode 1 was nearly as awkward as you probably think it was.
I know.
I've listened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously our most downloaded episode, so I wanted to hear what people are actually hearing again because that was over 2 years ago.
First impressions are everything.
I know. You know what I think I'm going to do is re-edit it with a new intro, but keep the same episode, but do an intro to it because we didn't do the teaser intros back then or anything.
Come a long way, baby.
Yeah, and we're continuing to come along. It's unbelievable. We are running so short of time. Anything else you want to impart on our listeners I mean, that's such a great story. It was
It's such a weird story. I just had to share.
But it covered so many aspects of what we deal with and what we find on the site. Matter of fact, I just had a girl message me on Seeking that says, "Hey, I'm fresh out of the shower. Here's my number. Come on over." Was I tempted? Fucking yeah, I was tempted.
Yeah.
But that's not really
You're
what
a male.
but that's not really what I'm looking for.
Right.
But
Well, we're going to have Dom Dwayne back again because
of course.
he messages me on my way here and he's like, "Oh, I forgot my notebook where I jotted down some ideas of things to talk about." And I was like, "It's okay. We'll just wing it." So I'm sure he has a plethora of fun subjects.
This happened in the first episode he was here. I had so many more things I wanted to talk to Dwayne about.
Yeah.
And we ran out of time, and here we are again. We got one story in.
Well,
And it was a
long
good one.
It
No.
was a
We'll
long
let
one.
some segue stories.
It covered a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got other things to talk about, but I would love to come back and do this.
Yeah,
again. You guys
absolutely.
are fun.
This is really exciting. We are actually booked out for the next 5 episodes.
Wow.
I have 5 weeks worth of guests lined out.
And we got some good ones.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Charles is going to come on here in about 8 weeks or so
Yep.
and tell his stories because he's back now from Europe. And oh my gosh, I watch his Instagram stuff. It's really fun. And he goes to a lot of the concerts that we go to, but he gets to see them first. For some reason, they play in his part of the country first before they hit
Yeah, in San
Arizona.
Diego.
Because he just saw Pink.
Yes.
He just saw Guns N' Roses.
Nice.
And I know they were supposed to be here in Arizona next week. So
Yeah.
I kind of get to see through his Instagram what the concerts are. Because they either hit Phoenix first and then go to California, or California and then the next stop is usually Phoenix. But for lately, they've been through California. But anyway,
All right. Well, that was a good episode.
yeah, Dwayne.
It was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And if you want to share your crazy sugar dating stories like Dwayne, we always love them. We're getting them in too.
Yeah.
Lily gets to read them. I get to read them on Instagram or through our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. You can go there. And yeah, don't forget to go there, fill out the survey, and then you can click on links. We have links there that tell about the latest parties that we're having, and we'll get the next one set up soon. Also, too, at the bottom, there's a program called OMG Yes, and it's how to pleasure a woman properly. So you're going to want to check that out. They're an affiliate of ours. If you buy the program, I think we make like $15 or something. It's not a lot of money, but I would highly, highly recommend it. And let me just tell you,
It works.
it works. Yes, it definitely works. I've seen eyes rolling in the back of girls' heads and them saying, "Oh, God, how are you so good?" And I'm telling you, it's the course, OMG Yes. So I highly recommend
He's
that.
been trained.
Well, you got to like doing it. You got to like pleasuring a woman. And
Does anybody not like that?
well, there's guys that are very selfish and they just want their pleasure.
Gay guys.
Okay. All right. Fine. You proved me wrong. You got me.
They just want to be your best friend.
Yeah.
They don't want to pleasure you. They might want to brush your hair.
Well,
I'm into that. I like to have my hair brushed.
You do.
Oh, I
like it.
love it.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we got off track. All
Yet
right.
again.
Come find us next week, and don't forget to check out the extra sugars that we release. I don't know, sometimes Thursdays, Fridays, whenever we get to them. But we do release one at the end of each week. So we will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.